So what I'd like to share with you for just a second is how this worked versus the way we do it today. The top set of 5 lines and 4 spaces has single notes, and that was the melody. That's the part that follows the words of the song. That's done with the right hand on a keyboard. Well, then down below is what you did with your left hand, and that was a stack of notes that we call a chord. But what's interesting is down here, every good boy does not do fine. The lines and spaces mean different keys for the left hand than it does for the right. So literally learning a foreign language with your right hand and a completely separate foreign language with your left hand. And if you ever dared try to play one of these, there's a keyboard on the floor, and you had to learn another foreign language for your left foot. This has all been eliminated, and you can learn to play. And what I call it is the return on time invested. You sound better sooner. It motivates you to want to do more. So for a moment, what I'd like to do is show you what Class 1, Book 1 would look like in this new format. Our courses are called Lowrey Magic, and it truly is magic. It's an amazing way to get this music out of your hands, and when you're playing your favorite songs, there's something that happens inside that cannot be described. Listening to music is phenomenal. Making your own is even better. Listen to some of the titles that you would learn in your first semester of Lowrey Magic. I Walk the Line, The Man in Black, Johnny Cash. When the Saints Go Marching In, Little Brown Jug. And how about Elvis the Pelvis? Everybody remembers him. Love Me Tender. When I was a kid taking piano lessons at 7 years old, my first song was called Crunchy Flakes. What was that? Well, it was nothing. It was a study that had to be done with your hands. It wasn't a familiar tune. I wasn't motivated, but I am thankful my parents made me stay with it. This is much more inspirational. Let's take a look. There's I Walk the Line, and it is a remarkable and unique way of looking at music. You can see there is only one staff, and it is much larger. It allows the notes to be larger, and the names of each note to be written inside the note, telling you what the keys are, so there's never any memorization. But glaringly, the other thing you'll notice right away are the color bars. Those refer to what you do with your left hand as what we called a chord. But instead of having to read that separate foreign language, you learn how to make a chord with your left hand corresponding to red, blue, and green. You start with one finger. After you've got your timing and coordination down, we add a second finger and then a third. And you're making these chords and corresponding to the music that's written in the Lowrey Magic program. It's really remarkable, very easy, and people have a lot of fun. If you've ever considered taking a music class, how about taking folks just like you that always wanted to learn to play a keyboard and never had had the opportunity before? Switching gears for just a second, let's talk about the keyboards themselves and how technology has really developed ways to help us get there sooner. This little fella here, I almost considered a toy until I actually heard it, and it has remarkable tone quality. And if you listen now, someone once told me when I sat at it the first time, just listen and see what you think. Piano sound, and it never needs to be tuned. There's even a place for headphones shutting off the speakers so no one hears but you. That really surprised me that they could make that kind of a tone. And there's more than one tone. It doesn't have to be just a piano sound. You could have a beautiful, rich organ sound. But that was still manual play from my good old days, and that's not necessary anymore. The remarkable thing about the Lowrey Virtual Orchestra is it has what we call the easy to learn button. And it is truly remarkable. You turn that button on and something happens to the keyboard. The black and white keys are all the same as they would be on a piano, on an old style organ, any type of keyboard, even an accordion. But the easy to learn button is key. Let me show you what happens on the left side of this keyboard when I press the easy to learn button. Could you see that? Could you see the lights come on? Interestingly, they're red, blue, and green. Where have we seen that before? In replacing the second foreign language in our music. It's a guide to help us make the tones. As a kid, I had to learn 3-note chords and to step on one of those big wooden pedals just to start to make the accompaniment. When I turned that button on, it didn't just turn on colored lights. It turned on a special computerized system that would recognize what I told it to do with my left hand. So if I am not in easy mode and I play one key down here, you hear one deep tone. But with the easy button on, I play that same note and it plays a second inversion 3-note C chord and a bass guitar tone, and it remembers it until you get to the place where it's time to change from red to green. Much, much easier, and yet the music is still being made, and it's beautiful. Is that incredible? So we have letters inside the notes. We have colors to guide our left hand to be sure that we can find our way without reading a second staff. But there's more. When we play the keyboard in this system, we actually have something much better than some of you might recall, the little machine that went tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. We called that a metronome. And speaking as one who grinded it out by the hour with the tick-tock, tick-tock, it drove me crazy. Well, now, instead of a metronome, we have 6 different kinds of metronomes, but it's a built-in drummer. That's what teaches us our beat. And the orchestra jams with the metronome while we do what we've learned on the printed page. Watch this. It's like a reward for having gotten through the song. That's just one metronome. I could use a different one if I wanted to play a different style of music. Imagine I decided to play country. That you get in semester 1 of Lowrey Magic make it that possible. We step you through the processes, what to do with your right hand, what to do with your left hand, what to do the first day of your week after class, and the second day, and the third. And we find that between us here in our studio, over 35 years experience teaching retired adult beginners to play, If you follow the baby steps just as we say, you're going to astound yourself, and you're going to find you can't wait to get back to it and learn the next song. Now, I've talked a little bit about the music, I've talked a little bit about the technology, but this is probably the most important aspect of the Lowrey Magic System and learning to play a virtual orchestra keyboard. And that is, with 10 songs in a semester, maybe there's one or two you like. But since it's an eclectic mix of music, you might not like some of them. Everyone has individual tastes. The unique thing here is that we teach a music program that if you know the song and can sing the words, chances are it's already been written in the same format that we teach. Our goal is to get you understanding and proficient enough that you can start playing the music you love. If you took 10 people and interviewed them all about their favorite styles of music, there would be a dramatic difference between the tastes. So, I wanted to bring along one other music book to show you, just to give you a rough idea of what the future would be. If your thing is Patsy Cline, you can get a whole book of music in this format, just Patsy Cline. Maybe there's a decade. In my case, I was born too late. My all-time favorite music was being generated 20 years before I was born. It's the World War II era swing. You can get a book just of songs of a decade, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, rock and roll. Anything you can imagine is available. There are over 400 books of music published in the format that we teach in class. That's the goal, that's the future. So I've brought with me book number 274 in the series of over 400. And it happens to be called 150 of the most beautiful songs ever. That's quite a claim to make, but you should hear some of the titles. It's book number 274, but it says it's got 150 songs in this one book. And if you look at the back, there's 3 columns of 50 titles of different songs. And they are beautiful. There's Broadway, there's 70s easy listening. Stevie Wonder is in here. Where or When, what a great title. She, The Tennessee Waltz, From a Distance, I Can't Get Started, I Honestly Love You, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. A very eclectic mix in this one, that's why I brought it. But if we were to pick just to look at one, here's a great Frank Sinatra tune, I've Got You Under My Skin. And you can plainly see that other than the color bars, which you won't need after about 2 semesters, it's written exactly the way our course program teaches. And by the time you finish 2 semesters, you could pick up any book like this. You would know exactly what to do with your right hand, what to do with your left hand, how to pick a band metronome to help you keep timing. And I would say this. There's some skepticism and hesitation, is it really possible? My strong suggestion, if you want it, give it a try. It's worth the time invested to find out. Go on a little self-discovery. You will find yourself not only making music, but deriving wellness benefits from this phenomenal hobby of recreational music making. I encourage you to join us.